Hello and welcome! This character profile video is for the class Paladin, and what you'll see is all of her skills, the top 8 PVE and PVP skills that I recommend, her skill combos, enhancements, player card, and a gameplay video. So, without further ado, I give you the class Paladin. Here we go. And welcome to the Skills Slide. If you are new to my character profile videos, allow me to introduce the interface. On the left hand side are the names of all the skills. On the far right hand side are all the specials that go with those skills. And then the column CD is the cooldown for each of the skills. And then the column charges is how many times you can use the skill. And hits is how many times that skill will hit a creature or opponent in the world. And the column damage-PVE is the highest percentage damage that skill will do against a creature in the world. And damage-PVP is the highest percentage damage that skill will do against another player's character. And then of course you have your passive skill at the bottom. So just a few things to tell you. On the far right under specials, everything that's colored red is not applied in arena. So it'll work everywhere else, but just not in arena. So be aware. And on the far left hand side on the skills column, the 3 skills that are colored green, those connect to the passive. So take a moment to look at everything, and when you're ready, we'll move on to the top 8 PvE skills that I recommend. Here we go. And welcome to the PvE slide. So what I've done is I've organized all the skills according to the column of damage-PVE, from the highest percentage at the top all the way down to the lowest at the bottom. And your highest damaging skill is Sword of Judgment. And just taking a look at everything here, not bad. She's got Sword of Judgment and Sonic Slicer with 2000% damage. This is really good compared to others. And then she's got 2 others, maybe 3 that are 1000%. So that gives you almost a good solid 5 skills that you can use. And of course the remainder are just as good. So take a moment to look at everything. We have a lot to cover in the PvP section, so without further ado, I will say, when you're ready, we'll move on to the top 8 PvP skills that I recommend. Here we go. And welcome to the PvP slide. What I've done is I've taken all the skills and organized them according to the column of damage-PVP, with the highest percentage at the top all the way down to the lowest at the bottom. And Sword of Judgment remains your highest damaging skill. So let's go ahead and knock out the basics. There's a long talk about the passive that we'll be doing. So first of all, everyone who does PvP wants to know, hey, what super armor can I use in arena so I don't have to mess around with what I can and can't use? And looking at the list, this is one of her weaknesses compared to everyone else, and that's the super armor. So looking at shield chase and the specials, she gets forward guard while using the skill, and super armor is applied to the rear while using the skill. So she's covered in the front and the back, but that coverage in the back is not applied in arena. However, next to it, it says SA while attacking. So what they're saying is that in arena, while she's attacking, she does get super armor. And of course the stun on hit. So this is a valid option for you, shield chase. And then all the way out of the green is punishment with super armor as well. So those are your 2 options. Normally characters get 3, but everyone has pluses and minuses, and this is one of those minuses that she has. It won't stop you from enjoying all the wonderful things she can do, like forward guard in the front and super armor in the rear. Come on now. No one has that. So anyway, if you're also wondering why there's a green block, it's because we can only take 8 skills into the world at a time, and these are the 8 that I'm recommending. You don't have to stick with them, but it's a good start if you're wondering, well, which ones should I choose? Now, we're going to get to a long conversation about your passive skill, but the first thing I want to do is I want to read it to you as I understand it. So look at the bottom. Your passive is called Smite, and the definition for the passive is use all sacred power to enhance Sword of Judgment, Celestial Spear, and Judgment of Light. These are the 3 skills that are outlined in green in your skills column. Now, to the right of that, when you use your passive, you recover 40 sacred power upon skill use, and you apply something called Seal to the enemy on enhanced skill hit. And it does go into what Seal is right below it. It's a critical chance minus 35% for 5 seconds that happens to the creature or opponent you're fighting. And MP and magic is minus 10% every 5 seconds, or excuse me, every second for 5 seconds. So these are negative effects that happen to the person or thing you're fighting. And then there is Blessing of Light, which happens every 10 seconds. You get 5% HP after taking damage. And PvP damage received is minus 10% for 10 seconds. But the HP recovery is not applied in Path of Glory and not in Arena. So just be aware of that. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to cut into a slide presentation about your passive. So let me go ahead and get to that, and I will explain along the way. Here we go. Okay, first things first. This is a still image of gameplay that I took so I can explain to you where your sacred power is located. Sometimes for characters it's off to the bottom right corner around your basic attack, the sword in the center. Those dashes in the bottom right corner are your options to evade, so you got 4 of them, and then your skills around it. But in this case, your sacred power is look to the middle of the screen and down, just below the red bar for your health. That bar below is not blue like every other character in Black Desert Mobile. It is actually different. It is white with white speckles in it. This is your sacred power bar. So be aware of that, and let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so now that you know where the sacred power is located, there's something you should know. This is the first for me as well. You actually don't have it. Not yet. So I was like, okay, normally we're allowed to use our passive when we get to level 60 for all of the characters, but for this character, the Paladin, you don't have your passive yet. So you can't really say you have your sacred power until you come here to the story for normal, and then where it says the Valkyrie origin, you need to do that because it actually is going to say, hey, would you like your sacred power? So what I'm going to do now is show you slides. I'm not going to take you through the entire detail of how to unlock it. For those who are very familiar with this game, it's actually common that you want to do this for all of your characters when you hit level 60. There's a story that opens up and it enhances your character even further, and you want to do that. It's a must. But to use your passive, they say use your sacred power, and this is where you get it. So once you go to your story section and you tap on Valkyrie, let's go to the next slide. And once you go into the story, you'll see that there are 4 things that you need to do. It's not very long, however, I'm going to set you up the best way possible, because if you look at the 3rd one down, Enslar's successor, pass Venslar's test, that you need to prepare for because it's a battle. So let's go on to the next slides so you can know what you're gonna get into. Here we go. And this is a slide just showing the location of when you get to Venslar, and her saying I am Venslar, and I know, including use of the sacred power that many Valkyries are unable to attain. So this is how you get your sacred power and is the start of that path. So you're on the right track. Here we go. Next slide. Now, what you are looking at is the first of 2 consecutive battles. One is with a Lancer Spectre. So your character, the Paladin, can choose to be a Paladin or a Lancer. So you're fighting a ghost image of each type. So the first up is the Lancer, and if you look at the bottom left corner, I have 5,214 CP, and this fight was not a problem. I don't know if you'll get up to that amount of CP, but at least you have a good idea of how much you should have at the maximum, maybe? Minimum, probably, I'd say maybe 2,000, 3,000 CP. I think you'll be okay. But the goal here is get into this fight with a lot of health potions. You see I have 410. It was enough, but for you, maybe 500 would be a really good number to have on hand. And you go through the battle, fighting her as best you can. The minute that that battle stops, or when you defeat the Lancer Spectre, it turns into an immediate fight that starts right away with a Paladin Spectre. So now you are going up against yourself. Now, I'm pretty confident that you'll have more skill than the Spectre, but yet she's going to put up a good fight. So what she doesn't have is the big stack of potions that you do for health, and your knowledge of what makes good combos. So do your best, knock her out. It wasn't a problem at this CP, but these are the 2 fights you need to prepare for. So I highly recommend that you upgrade your gear, you take every trick in the book to gain as much CP as you can. You know, Pearl Abyss has been handing out really good gear for new players to get up there in level as well as CP, so I'm pretty confident that you will be given what you need to get this fight done. Not a problem. So let's move on to the next slide. And when the fights are over, you are given Venslar's blessing by saying you have earned the right to embrace the light of Enslar. The sacred light of Enslar is with you. And this is your clue that it is unlocked and is now part of your character. So let's go ahead. I won't ruin the wonderful thing that happens after this. That'll be yours to enjoy alone, but let's move on to the next slide. So now that you have the sacred power, I want to call your attention back to your skills screen. And if you don't know how to get there from the gameplay, you just hit the menu, go to skills on the right hand side, just tap on it, and now you're here, the skills screen, and just scroll all the way down to the skill smite, which is your passive. And you'll see that little circle above it with the blade with the circle around it. Tap on it, and it is this flow called Blessing of Light. It is no silver to learn, so you just tap on it to unlock it, and this is what you see on the next slide. So now you have a toggle switch at the top left corner where it says on to turn it on or off. So when the flow is on, then hit point recovery applied upon use. So if you look over to the left hand side where it says under Blessing of Light, every 10 seconds you'll recover 5% HP after taking damage. That is applied and active when the switch is on. When you tap on it to turn it off, and it will say off in red letters over the skill, or the enhancement, then you'll get additional sacred power recovery of 5. So 5 sacred power recovery when it's not in use, so when it's off. Now, I wanted to call your attention to this and how this works, because we're going to go into a gameplay video where I'm going to bring this all together and have you catch up to what I discovered as well. So give me a moment to cue up that video. Here we go. And here is the video. So the purpose of this video is I want you to focus on the sacred power bar. Now that we have passed the test, we've unlocked Enslar and that sacred power. So what I've done is under skills, I have matched the first 4 that you see in the list to the top and the next 4 down there. So we only have 3 left to try out, and there's the passive, and that's just basic attack. So what I'm trying to do or accomplish, and we're gonna fight those guys in the back, is I want to see that sacred power get depleted to let us know that it's being used, because there is no visual cue that our passive is active. So we're gonna auto fight, and you're gonna look at what skills are being used, and then look at your sacred power bar here. And as you can see, all of the skills are being used, and that sacred power bar is not moving. Now, I don't know if it's because I turned on the enhancement, and even if I did, that's hit point recovery, not 5 more to sacred power. And there is something in the passive that says use all sacred power to enhance Sword of Judgment, Celestial Spear, and Judgment of Light. And I just am not seeing that sacred power bar moving. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the last 3 that we wanted to check right here in order, and then we're just going to add Shield Chase just because. I'll just throw that in there and come back, and we're going to go back and fight those guys to see if our sacred power bar moves, does anything. And as I have it in auto combat, I'm noticing that it's staying away from the Breath of Elion. That's your heal component. Sometimes the heal component will actually use your passive, like activate it. And I just tried it, and that bar is not moving. So I really don't know how I can guide you to proving that your passive is working and active. What I can do is just encourage you. Whoops, I went the wrong way. I can encourage you that it is there, it is working, and just be aware of what it gives you. So let's go ahead and go back to the slides. Here we go. And we are back to the PvP slide, and now you can look at the bottom where it says passive, and it says use all sacred power to enhance those 3 skills. And it even tells you that you're going to recover 40 sacred power upon skill use. Maybe it didn't move because, no, I just can't say that. If you're using all, 40 is not going to fill up your bar that fast. But there it is. What it happens to the creature or opponent you're fighting is what says in seal those things. And then the Blessing of Light is things that happen for you, for your Paladin. So take a moment to look at all this, and when you're ready, we'll move on to the next slide, which is your skill combos. Here we go. And welcome to the skill combo slide. So first of all, before I explain how it works, let me tell you where you can find it. If you're in gameplay and you bring up the menu screen and you look over to the far right where it says skills and you tap on that, now you're on the skills screen, and you go to the middle of the screen and down, you'll see a magnifying glass with a circle around it, and it will say skill combos to the right of it. You just tap on that and now you're here. It's a small window that pops up that says list of skill combos. Now you'll need to scroll down to see all of these things, or you can enjoy what I've done for you here. I've taken everything that they have and put it on one screen. You could print this out. I would highly recommend black and white because there's a lot of color here and it might be a lot of ink. And or if you are playing on an emulator on a computer, you could have it on another monitor while you enjoy practicing these skill combos. Now, the other thing is, you remember when I told you how characters have pluses and minuses? Well, here's another first. Paladin has the most that I've come across yet skill combos that I've ever seen. This is huge, and I'm pleased to tell you that somebody who put this together at Pearl Abyss did an excellent job. Like, a lot of love was put into this, and this is what I mean. On the left hand side in blue is the skill you would start with. So let's just take the one at the top left corner, Celestial Spear, and it chains into the skill on the right, which is in gray, that you can choose from. So Celestial Spear to Shield Throw, and that is a combo, a 2-hit combo right there. What I've noticed as I looked at all of this is that Shield Throw is a connecting skill for massive combos. Her combo can be so long, I would say it just never ends. Let's tell you what I mean. Celestial Sphere at the top left corner to Shield Throw. Go down to, in blue, Shield Throw to, you could go back to Celestial Sphere and keep that 2-hit combo going infinitely, or you can choose Sword of Judgment, and that's the next one down. And Sword of Judgment is now Shield Throw again or Divine Wrath. And look, there is a Divine Wrath. It's in the column on the right. So from Divine Wrath, you can again go to Shield Throw, or you can choose something different like Sword of Judgment. And then Sword of Judgment, and I could go on. That's a first on this skill combos and just keep going. So what I'm trying to tell you is that Paladin's strength is she can change it up infinitely. She can hit you with a 2-hit combo till you're dead, or she can give you a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-hit combo. You know, it never ends on this because Shield Throw is always the glue that makes her combo like crazy. So now you know how this works. Take a moment to look at it, and when you're ready, we'll move on to the next slide called the Enhancement Slide. Here we go. And welcome to the Enhancement Slide. If you are new to this slide, allow me to introduce the interface. On the left hand side are all of the skills. On the far right hand side is the branch damage connected to those skills, and then there's 4 columns in the center. The first, second, and fourth, I try to make things that help your paladin. The third column I reserve for things that happen to the creature or player's character that you're fighting. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way because they give me a lot of negative things and I just can't fit it in that one column, and sometimes they just give me a lot of positive things for your paladin and I have to use that column. So that's how that works. Now, a few things to say is you already know that everything colored in red for super armor, it doesn't work in arena. I do want to call your attention to the skill at the top left corner, Sword of Judgment, and look 2 columns over where it says heal 220 hit points per hit. The word heal is colored differently, and that means that when you unlock that enhancement, every time you use Sword of Judgment, she will heal herself, but not in Path of Glory. So just be aware that that's the reason why it's colored that way, is no go on Path of Glory. Now, a few other things to tell you is that you're going to look at this and go, what are enhancements? So when you're on the skill screen and you tap on a skill and you notice that the icon for the skill is just to the left and there's these bubbles or circles around it, those are enhancements that you can unlock. Sometimes there'll be a number next to it in red, and that means you need to get that skill to a certain level to unlock that enhancement. You pay silver. Once you're at that level, unlock it, and congratulations. All of these enhancements that you are looking at need to be unlocked. And your next question to me is, how do I do that? And that is when you're fighting creatures in the world of Elion or the world of Hadum, you'll get these books, and they're skill books, and it's random. These books always pertain to your Paladin. So it's just a matter of what the book is connected to. It could be Sword of Judgment, or Shield Throw, or Sharp Light. It's random all the time, but when you get them, you want to use silver and learn them so that you can increase your skill level with those skills. And all of your skills go up to a level of 10, but you don't need, well, hopefully, you don't need 10 to unlock all the skills. Some skills will be free, like the one I showed you. Another will be pay the silver and you get it at level 1. And some will maybe have a red number 2 or 3. And to give you an idea, let's just say that Sword of Judgment and the heal 220 HP per hit has a red number 3 next to it. The example is, you probably need, and don't quote me on this, but maybe 3 or 4 books, and then you'll get up to that level so you can pay the silver and unlock heal 220 HP per hit enhancement. So that's how this works. In the world of Hadum, in treasure chests, you'll see these books, but they'll be of higher quality and get you up there in level faster. So that's what you have to expect. As far as the branch damage goes, it is a section of the game that you will discover and find how it works. I really don't cover it in this video, but don't worry, you will understand it in time and what it does. So take a moment to look at all these enhancements, and when you're ready, we'll move on to the next slide called the player card. Here we go. And welcome to the player card. It is like a baseball card. It is all the slides you previously saw, all put together on one screen. And there's something new as well. So let me go ahead and introduce how this works. At the top is the top 8 PVE and PVP skills that I recommend. And to the right of that is something new. It's called Immobilization. Anytime that you have a skill that knocks your opponent or the creature you're fighting down, knocks them up in the air, stuns them, or anything that just immobilizes them, where they have to spend animation to get up, is an immobilization. And in green it shows, do you have one for that skill? Yes, you do in green. And then the next column is, how many do you have? And if you're wondering, well, what is immobilization? Let's look at Judgment of Light. Now go down to the skills and look for Judgment of Light, which is more than halfway down, and all the way over to the right where it says Super Armor, and then Daze on first hit and Knockdown on hit. So basically, those are the two immobilizations that you do. You'll daze the creature or person, or you'll knock them down. This is really good, and I'll explain why that's good as we go through this. So you already know about the skills, you just heard about the enhancements, and then there's a legend down there on what's not applied in Path of Glory or Arena. And if you're wondering, well, what is forward guard and what is super armor? Here is the explanation for you. Forward guard. This means that incoming damage will either be 0 or heavily reduced. Now, to give you a visual, imagine our characters are fighting each other, and you use a skill that has forward guard, which would be shield chase. It says forward guard while using the skill. Imagine there's a shield right in front of you, in front of your paladin, and I'm right on the other side of that, and I'm trying to attack you facing towards you. As it says, incoming damage will either be 0 or heavily reduced, and that's towards you or maybe off to the right or left side and at you. But if I get behind you, then it's normal damage. However, for the same skill shield chase, she's special. She has super armor at the rear, so where everyone normally gets normal damage, let's move into what super armor can do. It says incoming damage will be reduced, and effects that immobilize you, like stun, knockdown, freeze, etc., will not happen for a duration of time. So this is what's special about her, is for that skill, except in Arena, when she's using shield chase, she has forward guard to the front and super armor to the back, which is minimizing the damage that I could do against this character. So that's pretty cool. Now, why do I care about how many immobilizations? Because of super armor. Everyone who does PvP has super armor going on their character, which negates any immobilization you can do. However, this is a numbers game. If you can use combinations, and you know that's her strength, of all these immobilizations, just throwing them out left and right at your opponent's character, the sheer number of skills that you're hitting them with is stacking how many times you can immobilize them. And if you're putting out, for example, look at the top right corner of Immobilization, Judgment of Light. If you're doing from the top of that list all the way down to Sonic Slicer, that's 9 immobilizations, and you're just cycling through it. 9, 18. You're keeping it going. That one of those will break through when their super armor isn't active, and you'll see that character get knocked to the ground. And then you could get in that extra hit, or maybe 2 hits, or maybe 8 hits if you use Radiant Charge, and that can be a real big turning point in a battle, in Arena, or anywhere that you're fighting against another player's character. So this is what's important about Immobilization and how it can help you. One other thing is, people that know my character profile videos and they're interested in a character, come to this section and print out, once again, probably black and white, this player card, look it over when they can, and then when they want to know the details about this character, they'll come and listen to the video. So take a moment to look at everything, and when you're ready, the music is going to change. We're going to go into a gameplay video where we show you, once again, what the Paladin can do. Here we go. And welcome to the gameplay video. Before we get started, let us show you where we're at. We're over here in Balanos, and we're over at Kron Castle entrance, and we're here because their CP is that much and our CP is this much. so she'll be fine. The way this works is we will use this auto path for Kron Castle entrance. We'll have our Paladin fight for about 2, maybe 3 minutes, at which time we will go back to town. I will give my outro and say thank you. So, without further ado, I give you the class Paladin. Here we go. It's almost time for her to head back to town. There we go. So while the loading screen is up, let me take this moment to say thank you. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like my videos, please subscribe, like, let people know. I am always making more videos, and there is so many more videos to do. So what we're doing now is just putting her in a pose. We're gonna zoom in. There we go. And what we do is we always have our characters give a wave. And just like that. So once again, thank you very much for watching this video, and you have yourself a great day. Take care. Bye now.